Hello, America! I've just returned from the front lines. Not a war zone, but something far more harrowing. I survived a week on a $1 million yacht in Croatia. Please, hold your applause and your pity. Someone had to go behind the velvet rope to expose the struggles of the ultra-wealthy. I'm here to reveal the unfiltered truth about the sheer, unadulterated hardship of floating on a luxury vessel along the Dalmatian coast. It's a world where the sun is always shining and the champagne is always chilled, a true burden. You might think, Trevor, that sounds lovely. You'd be wrong. The mental fortitude required to endure such an ordeal is not taught in school. Every day was a battle, against comfort, beauty, and having your every whim anticipated. Imagine the psychological toll of waking up to the gentle lapping of turquoise waves instead of a blaring alarm clock. It's disorienting, unnatural. This is a story of survival, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit when faced with overwhelming opulence. The pressure was immense from the moment I stepped on board. The crew, with their crisp uniforms and unnervingly cheerful smiles, greeted me with a cold towel and a glass of something bubbly. Did they not know I had just dragged my own suitcase a whole 20 feet from the car? This trip was a deep dive into a world so detached from reality, it makes Disneyland look gritty. Prepare yourselves for tales of hardship, too many pillows, sunsets that were just a little perfect, and the constant anxiety of choosing which beautiful bay to anchor in. I took one for the team, America. This is my Croatian yacht diary, this is my struggle. Let's talk about my seafaring cell, the yacht itself. They called it the, which I found ironic, as my week aboard was anything but serene. The vessel was less a boat and more a floating 5-star hotel, 3 stories of mahogany, chrome, and intimidating white leather. The pressure to remain pristine was exhausting. It was a full-time job, just not to spill anything. My stateroom was larger than my first flat, with a bed so comfortable it was nearly impossible to get up. The marble bathroom shower had more jets than a commercial airliner. The wardrobe could house a small family business. Amenities were relentless. A sun-decked jacuzzi, a gym, for some reason, and a fleet of toys, jet skis, paddle boards, a sea bob. The crew would ask, "Mr. Noah, would you care for a go on the sea bob?" As if it were a life decision. The sheer volume of options was a burden. It was a floating prison of fun, and I was its most reluctant, well-rested inmate. Why sit in a hot tub when the Adriatic is right there? This was comfort as captivity. My daily schedule was a non-stop gauntlet of leisure. The day began whenever I woke up, greeted by a silent crew member with a perfect cafe latte. The lack of chaos was unsettling. I missed the panic of real life. Breakfast was a multi-course ordeal. Exotic fruits, artisanal yogurts, pastries, and a menu of hot dishes by a private chef. The weight of choosing between Eggs Benedict with smoked salmon or prosciutto was immense. After the morning's culinary trials, the main activity commenced: lounging. There were designated lounging areas for every mood and time of day. The crew adjusted umbrellas and brought iced beverages I hadn't even asked for. Afternoons meant anchoring in a bay so beautiful it looked computer-generated. The agonizing choice: swim, paddleboard, or take the tender to a deserted beach. I swam in water as clear as gin, lay on beaches of smooth white pebbles, and returned to a fresh towel and cocktail. It was a beautiful sun-drenched hollow victory. Let's talk about the daily struggle for survival, specifically the food. On this yacht, the problem was the opposite of scarcity. Too much, too good, too relentless. Every meal was a culinary masterpiece that made me question all my previous life choices. Lunch was a light, multi-course affair. Freshly grilled sea bass, salads with ingredients I couldn't pronounce, olive oil worth more than my shoes. The chef would emerge, anxiously seeking approval for his lemon-infused sea bream. The pressure to enjoy everything was immense. Dinner was a formal 3-course spectacle with more cutlery than a surgical theater. I just wanted a pizza, but got lamb from Pag, truffle polenta, and local wine reductions. The greatest hardship: constant snacks and drinks delivered unbidden. A little something to keep you going, sir? I'd barely moved all day. My body didn't need fuel, it needed a challenge. This constant, unsolicited nourishment was wearing me down, one perfect bite at a time. I was being pampered into submission. One of the most profound struggles was what I call a navigational nightmare. Each morning, the captain would unroll a nautical chart and ask, "Where would you like to go today, sir?" It was a trap. A beautiful turquoise-watered trap. On a normal trip, your itinerary is fixed. Here, the entire Croatian coastline was my oyster. Did I want the Blue Cave, the Paklini Islands, or Vis? The options were paralyzing. The agony of choice extended to every part of the day: where to anchor, where to swim, what to eat. The anxiety was real, a constant, low-level hum of geographical FOMO. I'd point randomly at a spot and the captain would glide us to another utopia. I'd sit there, sipping rosé, tormented by the perfect bays I'd rejected. The burden of command is a heavy one. Authentic travel is about cultural immersion. On a $1 million yacht, it's more about having the culture brought to you. We'd pull into historic towns like Dubrovnik, but instead of exploring, we'd be whisked to exclusive restaurants where the owner greeted us like royalty. My attempts at Croatian were a disaster. Hvala came out as a sneeze, and the crew gently steered me back to English. I learned about peka and rakija not from locals but from the chef and steward. Rakija, by the way, is less a drink and more a dare. My cultural immersion was curated private tours, private tastings, no queues, no crowds. It was Croatia with all the difficult bits edited out, the director's cut with bonus features and a comfortable seat. It was fascinating, beautiful, and utterly inauthentic. I wouldn't have traded it, except maybe for a simple anonymous walk through a crowded market. Sometimes the best culture is the one you stumble into, not the one served on a silver platter. If you thought the daily routine was tough, you haven't heard about the special treatments. On day 4, the captain announced a surprise. A masseuse would arrive by water taxi. My first thought, another one? I was so relaxed my bones were jelly. But refusing a massage on a luxury yacht is a social faux pas. The masseuse set up on the top deck with panoramic sea views, scented candles, and calming music. As I lay there, my mind raced. Was I supposed to make small talk? Was my breathing too loud? What if I snored? The massage itself was awkward. She found tension in muscles that had only lifted forks and books. She was basically massaging a very well-fed sloth. After an hour I was released, coated in essential oils and dazed. The crew looked at me expectantly. Was it relaxing, sir? I nodded weakly, unable to describe the ordeal. The whole experience was a metaphor for the trip, an over-the-top solution to a problem that didn't exist. I needed a holiday to recover from all this relaxation. As I drifted through this week of catered bliss, I couldn't help but compare it to a traditional holiday. Think about your last family camping trip, pitching tents in the rain, arguing over sleeping bags, cooking sausages over a disposable barbecue. My accommodation was assembled by naval architects and came with air conditioning. The only argument was whether the jacuzzi should be at 38 or 39 degrees. While you battled wasps for a burger, I fended off offers of a second lobster tail. While you filtered water from a stream, I was asked if I preferred sparkling or still, and if the lemon slice was cut to my satisfaction. Entertainment? You had cards and ghost stories. I had jet skis and outdoor cinema on a boat. Wildlife? You saw squirrels. I saw dolphins racing the bow and swam with schools of fish in crystal water. It was like living inside a David Attenborough documentary but with better catering. The comparison is absurd, I know, but it's important to understand the chasm between a holiday and an experience. One builds character, the other erodes it with relentless comfort. My ghost story, the time they almost ran out of my favorite gin. Terrifying. So there you have it, my harrowing report from the front lines of extreme luxury. I survived the $1 million yacht trip in Croatia, endless sunshine, gourmet food, attentive crew, and the soul-crushing beauty of the Adriatic. I faced the hardship of choosing between a swim and a nap, the existential angst of too many beautiful islands. I returned a changed man, softer, more demanding, and with unrealistic coffee expectations. The ultra-wealthy live in a gilded cage, battling seamless comfort. The psychological toll of never lifting a finger is something we common folk can barely comprehend. I share this story not to gloat, but as a warning. Should you ever be invited onto a multi-million-dollar yacht, ask yourself, can you handle this much beauty? Do you have the mental fortitude for a week without a single problem to solve? Next time you're stuck in traffic or your hotel has questionable plumbing, remember my story. As tough as your trip might be, at least you'll come back with a story of survival. As for me, my story is one of profound, inescapable, 5-star luxury. Could you endure it?